In a Sunday evening on January 19th, 2025, the Baltimore Ravens threw away and fumbled away a golden opportunity to find themselves in a second straight AFC Championship game competing against the Kansas City Chiefs with a trip to the Super Bowl on the line at Arrowhead. They were not able to get it done despite dominating almost the entire box score in the game, and we're going to break down exactly why it is that they fell short right now. Hello everybody, this is the Pocket Passer. I'm your host Randy White. I hope all of you are having a fantastic day. I know I am, because we're talking about football, and more specifically, we are talking about the epic showdown that was the Ravens-Bills AFC divisional round a day before the Bills head into Arrowhead to try and do something that almost no one has been able to do, and that is dethrone Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. So right now, focusing on that Bills-Ravens game, a game that, like I said, the Ravens threw away and fumbled away. They were the better team. The box score shows it. And hell, the film even shows it. The Ravens dominated that entire game when they weren't committing one of the most crucial errors in all of the sport, giving the ball to the other team when you're on offense, turning the ball over. Can't have it happen. The Ravens had it happen. They threw away opportunities to get points on the board. They had 8 real possessions, right? They had 8 real possessions. They had technically 9, but one was a kneel down at the end of the second quarter to just run the final 9 seconds or so off the clock. So 8 real possessions, and on those possessions, they committed 3 turnovers. On the 5 drives they did not commit a turnover, they scored points on, all 5 of them. 3 touchdowns, 2 field goals. They opened the game with a touchdown drive. Then they turned the ball over twice in a row, and then they ended the half, not counting the last drive where they need it. They ended the half with a field goal drive before the Bills would go down. And then in the second half, what do? They open it up with a field goal, and then they get a touchdown, and then they get a fumble. They turn the ball over. They kill their momentum when, whoa, they've come swinging back. They've scored 9 straight points. The score is 21-19. It is all in Baltimore's favor. Right here, right now, this is your time. It's 24-19 because the Bills went down and got a field goal. Here we go. Mark Andrews fumbles. Bills take it down all the way to the 1-yard line. They get stopped on third down, kick a field goal. Now you're down 8. What do we got to do? Just go down the field, score a touchdown, get the 2-point conversion, get a stop. We're back in this thing. You drop the 2-point conversion. Bills run the clock out, and that's all she wrote. You can't turn the ball over in a game that's going to be this tight, and you can't be 0 for 2 on 2-point conversion plays. This game, the landscape of this game is completely different. If on the first touchdown they scored in the third quarter, or maybe it was the beginning of the fourth quarter, I believe it was the third quarter, they complete the 2-point conversion. Lamar's pass gets tipped at the line of scrimmage, incomplete, otherwise it's a tie game, and the landscape of the decision-making becomes entirely different, because now, do the Bills go for it on 4th and goal from the 2-yard line or so, knowing that a field goal only puts them up 6, and that they will lose the game if Lamar goes down and kicks a field goal, or Lamar goes down and gets in the end zone? Who knows? Could be a completely different scenario when it's, okay, we're up 8, there's no way for the Ravens to beat us with the ball. Or, we're only going to be up 6, Ravens can beat us with a touchdown. I think Sean McDermott goes for it in that scenario. I really do. So, landscape of the game completely changed from there. And you just can't have crucial mistakes like that. 3 turnovers, a dropped 2-point conversion, an incomplete 2-point conversion. They were bad when they needed to be great. As great as they were in the second half to dig themselves out of the hole they put themselves in, it wasn't enough to overcome. And when you look at the box score, the Ravens dominated the box score. 416 total yards to the Bills, 273. 240 pass yards to the Bills, 126. 176 rushing yards to the Bills, 147. 7.3 yards per play to the Bills, 4.6. They were more explosive. They moved the ball better, passing the ball and running the ball. They had more total yards. They were better on third down. They were 7 out of 10 to the Bills, 5 out of 11. They had more first downs. They had 23 to the Bills, 20. On fourth down, they're the same, 1 for 1. Time of possession, nearly identical. Ravens had it for 28 minutes and 16 seconds. Bills had it for 31 minutes and 44 seconds. Practically identical. Total plays, 57 for the Ravens to 59 for the Bills. Once again, practically identical. Where did they lose? Okay, sacks, pretty much the same as well. The Ravens got sacked twice. Lamar got sacked twice. Josh Allen got sacked once. So a pretty small variation there as well. But where do we go wrong? Well, the Ravens punted 0 times, like I said. To the Bills, 2 punts. Sorry. To the Bills, 3 punts. 3 turnovers, 0 turnovers. In a game you lose by 2, that is what it takes. And you might say, hey, they didn't execute on the 2-point conversion. That's what lost them the game. No. That was the nail in the coffin. But they built that coffin. They put in the other nails in the coffin with the 2 turnovers in the first half, the pass interference that puts them down 21-10, the fumble from Mark Andrews puts them down 27-19. They built the coffin themselves, and then Mark Andrews tapped in the final few nails with the fumble and with the drop 2-point conversion. They built the lid to the coffin when they got that ball tipped on the 2-point conversion prior. There's a lot that goes into a win, and if you zero in on those last couple plays, then yeah, one guy is to blame. On that last play, one guy is to blame. Sure. But that's not how football works. The score, the outcome of the game is determined by the events that happen throughout the game. So the Ravens had an opportunity to dominate a game. They were good enough to dominate the game on the line of scrimmage. They got pushed around. They got jumped on in the first half. They weren't ready for the Bills' physicality. And then you saw what they were capable of when in the second half, the switch flipped. The Ravens were winning the line of scrimmage on defense. They were winning the line of scrimmage on offense. They were pounding the rock. They had 68 yards rushing on either the first or second drive of the third quarter. I believe it was the second drive of the third quarter when they went down and scored their touchdown. They pounded the rock like crazy. They ran the ball. They had a 7-play drive and they ran the ball 6 times. And they scored. And it was like a hot knife through butter the entire drive. You saw what they were capable of. Unlike last year in the AFC Championship game where Todd Monken got buried, and rightfully so because his play calling was awful. His play calling was not awful at any point. They tried to run the ball in the first half, and they couldn't. The Bills dominated the line of scrimmage early, and the Ravens shot themselves in the foot with poor execution in key moments by turning the ball over. So you can't bury Todd Monken this time. He actually called a legitimately good game. This comes down to execution. You got dominated in the line of scrimmage in the first half. You turned the ball over too many times, and then you crawled your way out of it, and you crapped yourself one final time when you needed to score most of all. And that's what happens when you put all your chips in the bag for one final play. Sometimes it has to happen because you're playing 2 great teams. But the reality is that some of those plays by the Ravens, actually both turnovers by the Ravens, even if the Bills win the line of scrimmage the way they did. The Ravens score more points because they were moving the ball effectively enough if they just didn't turn the ball over. The drive that Lamar fumbled the ball, they were moving the ball effectively. They get stopped on first down, and he fumbles the ball inexplicably without the ball getting touched. So this is a game that goes completely differently if you don't shoot yourself in the foot early and you execute late. They were unable to do both. And that's how you lose football games against great football teams when you have a quarterback that is exceptional on one side of the ball and a quarterback exceptional on the other side of the ball. The team that makes the most errors loses. The Ravens made more errors. So Mark Andrews deserves a good chunk of the blame. Lamar Jackson deserves a little bit of the blame. The offensive line and defensive line of the Ravens deserve some blame for putting them in a hole by not being able to win the line of scrimmage the way they were expected to do so in the first half. Blame goes around to everybody that made an error. So it's so easy to say, yep, Mark Andrews is 60% of the reason why the Ravens lost. And Lamar Jackson is, he made those errors, but he fought his way back. Guys, that only matters if you win the game. If you dig yourself a hole and you don't overcome it, you dug yourself a hole and you didn't overcome it. So this whole excuse thing, I love Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson's amazing. And I defended Justin Herbert last week, not because he's excused for blame. Justin Herbert is far more to blame, or Justin Herbert is just as much, if not well more to blame for the Chargers' loss as Lamar Jackson is for the Ravens' loss. And undeniably so, Lamar Jackson made far more exceptional plays than Justin Herbert did. So I don't want to seem like I'm being hypocritical because I defended Justin Herbert. I want to make it clear that I defended Justin Herbert because I thought the public opinion was too negative on him. The same way I feel the public opinion on Lamar is too much in his favor right now, so I'm going to pull back a little bit. Even if Lamar only gets 15% of the blame, 20% of the blame for the loss, that is still less, or that's a lot more than what people are giving him, where it's like, oh, it's not your fault. Well, it's a little his fault. They lost the game. It's a little bit of everybody's fault that didn't execute in crucial moments. So no one's absolved. And I just want to make that very clear. Now let's jump into the film and talk about some of these turnovers and talk about some of the key plays that the Bills made. And also there's a run play, the Bills opening touchdown. I want to show the left guard calls over to get a motion set that looks like was forgotten, and it ends up being a key play or a key piece of their touchdown. So I want to show that as well. So let's jump into the film, break down these turnovers right now. This is Lamar's first touchdown. At the bottom of the screen, they're going to run snag. That's a slant sit from the outside receiver. It's a corner route from the tight end. And then that's a flat route here from the running back. And then to the top of the screen, you're going to get a slant. And then you're going to get an in from the top receiver, right? So the way I would read this is I would read this Mike linebacker here, assuming none of these guys blitz. If they blitz, then you got a hot. Like if he blitzes, you're going to throw this slant hot. He doesn't blitz, so you don't have to worry about that. So I'm reading this Mike linebacker, see what side he pushes to, and I'm coming to the side he doesn't push. Because if he doesn't push to a side, or excuse me, if he pushes right, then I can just read this guy. So if he wants to take the inside slant, then I can throw the in. If he wants to drop out into this in window, then I take this inside slant before the safety jumps. Especially when you get these safeties right off the snap, these safeties are going to drop, right? These corners get some depth. This corner ends up coming down. I think that's because his read in the quarters coverage, it's possible this is cover 6 and he's actually a flat, but my belief is that this is cover 4, and because this receiver goes in, again, I'm not super duper educated on cover 4 rules, so I guess I could be wrong, but I believe because this receiver goes in, he no longer is responsible for him, and then that's why he kind of comes down here to take care of anything here, and then eventually ends up dropping into the corner. This safety stays on top of the corner route, and you're going to see Lamar Jackson does a really good job just buying time, using the threat of his athleticism to an advantage by sitting in the pocket. The offensive line does a phenomenal job in pass protection. I would have came to this backside, and you're going to see here in a second, this in route comes open right here. So right here, Mike linebacker, he pushes to the snag side. So now you're outnumbered. It's 4-on-3 to this side, and I know it's still 3-on-2 to this side, but the way I'm reading this is, okay, eyes come here. I see this Mike linebacker push. Now my eyes come to this defender. I see this defender run with the slant, and then my eyes come lastly to this in route. And I hit this in route with the corner playing off and the safety playing off. No one's going to get there. Bang, 5-yard in. That's the way me, as a pocket quarterback who does not have the threat of running, would play it. Now, Lamar Jackson, not a pocket quarterback. He can play in the pocket. He does it here. Threat of him running, you're going to see, watch the offensive line and watch the way the defensive line. First of all, the defensive line, none of these guys, none of them are going to rush high upfield, right? And none of them are going to squeeze inside tight, because of both of those things will allow Lamar Jackson to escape. That's the last thing the Bills want to have happen. So they're going to engage with the offensive line and kind of just try to squeeze the pocket. Same thing with these defensive linemen. You're going to see them get washed over here. What's the first thing this guy does? Oh, crap, I just got washed over and let up a gap. I'm immediately going to come back over here. And you see him do it right now. Bang. See, now he's got to close this window. Snag is covered. Mike linebacker's pushed over here. And then you get outside linebacker gets the cover. The flat route, Mike linebacker sits on the snag route, the slant sit. You get a corner sitting in between both of those just in case he wants to break out. He's in here, and he also is in position to drop into this corner route window with the safety over the top. So nothing's open over here. In route was open. Can't throw it late. This safety's going to jump it by the time you come back to it now. Good job here by Rashad Bateman. He puts his foot in the ground. He is now responsible. This middle linebacker, Mike linebacker, he's responsible for deep middle of the field. Safety cleared out, corners down here. This safety still taking anyone that goes deep to this side. So there's no one in the middle of the field. Bateman recognizes it. Lamar recognizes it. Touchdown, Ravens, opening drive. One of the plays you can't have in a playoff game, a turnover. You get Isaiah Likely in the motion over here. He's going to run a hitch. It's a smash concept. You get a really good job by Rashad Bateman here. He kills Rasul Douglas on this corner route against a one high safety look. So one high safety looks, I don't love running smash, which is what this is, the hitch, and then the corner route. It's really a cover 2 beating route, but it also works against man coverage, which is what this ends up being, and the motion declares it because you get a linebacker that has to go out here and follow him. So post safety, one high safety, so you absolutely cannot throw a pick on a corner route against a one high safety look. To the top of the screen, you're going to have a drive concept, I believe is what it is. So you get the flat route here from the receiver, and then Mark Andrews, I believe, attempts to run, but would probably be about a 10-yard basic. Now, the reason I say attempts is because Taron Johnson jams the piss out of him at the line of scrimmage. Mark Andrews gets about 7 yards downfield and fails to make a cut by the time Lamar Jackson had gotten the ball out. Lamar Jackson takes a 3-step drop and a hitch and then a pat and throws. I think he's probably a tad late on the throw, but that's not really the problem. The main problem is the ball placement. You're going to see, bang, right here. He's at the top of his 3-step drop. Now he hitches, he's patting, he's getting ready to throw. Rashad Bateman has won his route. Right? So I understand that a lot of the times quarterbacks see, okay, receiver won the route vertically, I want to throw the ball upfield. But Lamar's got to understand that he cannot do that. He can't drift this ball upfield against the one high safety because the middle of the field's closed. And if you give the safety time, he can get over there. So this ball's got to get put down at about the 50-yard line or so to the sideline. He lets this thing drift about 3 yards inside the numbers. It's got to be more like 2 feet away from the sideline. Put this ball high, put it to the sideline, give Rashad Bateman a chance to go run under it. But you cannot drift it inside of Rashad Bateman, which is exactly what it does. Rashad Bateman makes his cut expecting to get the ball at the sideline at about the 46-yard line. Instead, the ball hangs into the air and gets picked off at the 47-yard line, just about 2 yards, the opposite 47, 46-yard line, about 2 yards inside of the numbers, maybe 3. So ball hangs up high and inside, can't have it against a single high safety. The other thing I do want to point out is watch Lamar Jackson's feet. See when he hitches, this feet or his instep on his right foot is pointing this way, right? So how can you expect to reliably and consistently throw a ball accurately to the outside when your body is showing that you're going to throw this ball inside? So he tries to drop this ball outside, but he doesn't get his body aligned to the throw. So now he's throwing here, and you can see his body is aligned as if he's going to be throwing the ball probably to the numbers. But he needs to get this ball to the sideline so he doesn't get his feet aligned, and that's probably also a big factor as to why that ball drifted so far inside on him. Now, this is the second turnover in a row, and what really kills here is that this is a good drive. So unlike the last drive where it was only their second play of the drive, which is bad because you turn the ball over at midfield, but luckily your defense doesn't give up any points. You get the ball back. Bills get stopped. They have to punt. Ravens get the ball. They march down the field. They're having a really good drive, just like most of their drives where they don't turn the ball over. And this is a designed run play, so you're probably getting inside zone here. The entire offensive line moves left. They all step left, so it's inside zone to the left, and it looks like it's going to be a pretty solid run here if they actually get this handoff. Now, it's not a very good snap. You're going to see it's left. It doesn't look as bad on this shot, but when we go to the back end, I'll show you it's a pretty bad snap. Lamar does a pretty good job to handle it, but here, you just got to hold on to the football. First of all, he pumps here. Probably a good thing he doesn't throw this to Isaiah Likely, just because if he does, you're going to get an illegal man downfield penalty, right? There's offensive linemen, they're past the 1 yard zone of leeway that they get to go down the field. They are past the line of scrimmage. It's going to be an illegal man downfield. And the one way it might not be an illegal man downfield is these guys are engaged in blocks and have driven those blocks backwards. So maybe they don't get it called, and maybe he should throw it to Isaiah Likely. Now he pumps. I think he sees that this guy's got leverage, and he can't do it. Good job by Damar Hamlin here. He gives this pump. Damar Hamlin breaks down and then lunges at his leg and is able to get wraps on it. So this is the part where Lamar Jackson, okay, it's not a pass play, it's a run play. There's nowhere for you to throw the football. You're wrapped up. There's more defenders coming. Tuck the ball with 2 hands and just go down. He puts the ball on the ground. Von Miller picks it up, scoops it, and runs a long distance before getting hawked down by Justice Hill. You can't put that ball on the ground. Just tuck it. I know it's going to be 3rd and long. It sucks. You're probably going to have to punt. Whole lot better than dropping that thing on the ground. And all of a sudden the Bills go get the ball inside the 20, and they score. This is the first 3rd down of the game for the Buffalo Bills on offense. The Ravens are in a 2-high shell, and they end up rocking back into cover 2, where these corners kind of play soft squat. They trail behind. If they get threatened in the flat, they have to play the flat. So this play is perfectly designed. The play that the Bills are running is perfectly designed to beat that. You're going to get a slot fade here from the slot. You're going to get Shakir coming up the middle, attacking the middle defender, and splitting the seam. You're going to get a fade from the outside over here, an out route from the running back to attack this flat defender to set up a whole shot here, and then you're also going to get an out route from the tight end to attack this corner and create a whole shot over here. So essentially what's happening is a lot of pressure is getting put on this safety to the trip side, because now he has to choose between this outside breaking vertical route and the inside breaking vertical route, and he has to choose the outside one because that's his job, and it's going to basically be, okay, Shakir, you have to beat the middle defender. You have to vertically stack and get over the top of the middle defender, and that's exactly what he does. So Shakir gets motioned inside, and then bang, he's going to attack number 21 and just run right by him. 21 not in a position to defend it, trying to defend anything underneath, and he gets beat over the top. And then here's the Bills touchdown on the opening drive. And I want to point out here, so the Bills are running duo, so you're going to get a double team and a double team. You're going to get the guard and the tackle double teaming down here on this defensive tackle. Then you're going to double team from the center and the guard on the backside over here. And then what I want to point out here is the guard, David Edwards, does a great job noticing. He's saying, hey, Mac Hollins has to motion across the formation. He notices it before Josh Allen does, and then Josh Allen's like, oh yeah, you got a motion. So then he's like, come on. And then they get the motion. So David Edwards does a really good job being mindful and reminding them of the motion. You get Marlon Humphrey following him out here. You might actually be able to shoot this out to Matt Collins if you get the ball snapped in time for a touchdown. You get him out here. They snap the ball. Dawson Knox's job is to beat this defender inside and seal him and open up this gap. But when he gets beat inside, now it's Dawson Knox's job to wash him down as far down the line as he can. And then hopefully Shakir does a great job here. He beats Kyle Hamilton inside and seals this window and gives room for Davis to run through. Bang. Kyle Hamilton is now sealed off. Great job by Shakir. And now a running lane has opened. And Davis does a good job finding it and squeezing his way in. I would like to just say real quickly before this video ends, I am in no way hating on Lamar Jackson. I am a huge Lamar Jackson fan. I think Lamar Jackson is awesome. He is a great quarterback, one of my favorite quarterbacks in the NFL. I really enjoy watching him. He and Josh Allen are both amazing, and it was an amazing battle. Lamar Jackson, a lot of people have argued, outplayed Josh Allen in this game. He made costly mistakes. Josh Allen didn't, and that's part of why they won. But at the end of the day, Lamar Jackson battled his way back. He played well enough for the Ravens to win. Some of his teammates weren't able to get it done when they needed to hold up their end of the bargain. It didn't happen, specifically Mark Andrews. What the Bills fan base has done, donating tens of thousands of dollars to Mark Andrews Foundation, has been awesome. Good on Bills Mafia doing that. One of the best fan bases in the NFL, without a doubt. So that has been awesome to see. Good on the Bills Mafia. The criticism of Lamar Jackson has not come at a very high level following this playoff game, and I think that kind of bothered me just because I figured that if the Bills had lost this game, Josh Allen would have gotten buried for it, and the narrative would have been, he can't get it done. And the narrative surrounding Josh Allen has just continuously been, he can't get it done. He's unable to get it done. Even when you include all the factors that lead into him losing the playoff games he's lost. So I think it's been unfair and somewhat one-sided negative for Josh while being kind of one-sided positive for Lamar. Now, I know there were old narratives that were negative and one-sided against Lamar where they wanted him to be a running back, but that's all in the past. Everyone knows he can be a quarterback now. So I think I was slightly bothered by the fact that he isn't being treated the way I think some other quarterbacks would get treated in these situations. With that being said, Lamar Jackson's incredible, and he deserves all of the respect in the world. He had an amazing season this year. I think him and Josh are both super deserving of MVP this year. I've been beating the drum that Josh should have been MVP last year. The more I think about my opinion of turnovers and the effect turnovers have on the game, you can't justify someone having over 20 turnovers and being the MVP. So I am going to finally, after almost a year, walk back my Josh Allen 2023 MVP campaign and say, I've been wrong. Lamar Jackson should have been the MVP. This is an opinion I should have held, considering how high in regard I hold players that don't turn the ball over. I mean, you look at how much I like Aaron Rodgers, and I grew up being an Aaron Rodgers fan, and everything that is Aaron Rodgers is what's the first thing every fan says about him is touchdown interception ratio. So I go from that to defending Josh Allen, so a little bit backwards, and I have decided that I was off. And Josh Allen cannot be the MVP with that many turnovers. With that being said, this year he didn't have that many turnovers. Lamar actually had, fun fact, more turnovers than Josh Allen this year. Lamar had 9 because of fumbles. Josh had 8. So when you go total turnovers instead of looking at just interceptions, which it's fun how they give total touchdowns, but they don't give total turnovers whenever they show those graphics. So that's interesting. But Lamar's got more turnovers by 1 than Josh. Lamar's obviously got much more yards, much more touchdowns. But you look at the context of who they've got around him, it's going to be fun to see who wins that award. They're both super deserving, both awesome players. It's a shame that one of them had to get eliminated in the divisional round. Hopefully the Bills can end this madness and prevent a three-peat, and Josh Allen can find himself in a Super Bowl, so at least one of those two quarterbacks can get the narrative of can't get it done killed, and hopefully Lamar can end his own narrative soon. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, leave a comment who you think should win MVP this year, who you think is to blame for the Ravens' loss, or any other topics or thoughts you might want to leave down there. Feel free to do so. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications to be notified when more videos drop. I will see all of you in the next video. Peace.